You work. There is a universal law that governs all achievement. Nothing happens until something moves. You can sit for days, months, even years entertaining noble thoughts, scripting perfect plans, and dreaming vast dreams. But unless you step out and act, you work. Those thoughts remain figments of imagination. The distance between who you are and who you wish to become is bridged only by deliberate action. You work. You must force yourself, not when it's convenient, not when it's easy, but especially when resistance is at its peak. Because resistance is the gatekeeper of transformation. Many wait for inspiration to strike, for conditions to align, or for someone to come along and push them. But those who rise above mediocrity know the truth. The world does not reward intentions. It rewards execution. You may have the most brilliant mind, the most passionate heart, but without action you remain stuck in the realm of potential. And potential unused becomes a burden. It creates frustration, not fulfillment. You must be bold enough to step into the realm of the unknown, even when doubt clouds your mind and fear grips your chest. For it is there, in the uncomfortable zone, that you begin to shape your destiny. Do not let your mind deceive you with rational excuses. Fear often cloaks itself in logic. You work. It will whisper that you're not ready, that you need more preparation, that tomorrow is better. But tomorrow is a lie that steals from today. You work. The only real time you ever own is now. Waiting only builds walls between you and your dream. You work. Each day that passes without action is another day you'll have to fight twice as hard to reclaim your momentum. Action has a strange power. It quiets the noise, the inner critic, the external pressure, the overwhelming doubt. All begin to fade once you start moving. While they watch, your clarity doesn't always come before action. It often follows it. Force yourself to make the first call, write the first line, take the first step. You do not need to see the entire path. The first step will show you the second, and each step after that will make the journey less mysterious and more familiar. Momentum is built through movement. Confidence is born in motion. The truth is, discipline feels like punishment to the lazy, but like power to the purposeful. When you discipline yourself to act, especially when you don't feel like it, you begin to separate yourself from the masses. You stop living by feelings and start living by commitment. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary lives. Not by grand gestures, but by small, courageous, consistent acts that compound over time. Your body may resist, your mind may rebel, but your spirit knows what is right. Trust it. Obey it. Move with it. The reward for forcing yourself to take action is not just external success. It is the internal evolution that occurs. You become sharper, more courageous, more focused. You become the kind of person others look up to. But more importantly, you become someone you can finally respect. Someone you can count on. Someone who acts. Every person carries within them an unseen battle. The war between what they want and what they do. You may desire success, progress, peace, or abundance, but none of these can materialize without the bridge of consistent, intentional action. And that bridge is not walked easily. It demands effort. It demands that you rise each day and challenge the comfort that seeks to trap you. There is no glory in waiting, no strength in hesitation. The glory lies in motion. The power lies in the doing. Even if you stumble, even if you falter, taking action places you miles ahead of the one who merely wishes. One of the greatest lies people believe is that action is the result of motivation, but it's the other way around. Action creates motivation. When you act, even in the smallest way, your mind begins to shift. You build momentum. You begin to feel the weight of possibility. You break the chains of procrastination. If you sit waiting for motivation to arrive, you give your power away. You become a servant to emotion, and emotion is fleeting. It's unstable. But when you act, even when you don't feel like it, you gain control. Work. You become the architect of your day instead of the prisoner of your feelings. Most people think they fail because of lack of time, resources, or knowledge. But in truth, what stops most is the failure to begin. The hardest part is always the start. The first 10 minutes, the first effort, the first decision. But if you can just push yourself to start, you'll find that everything begins to shift. The energy flows. The doubts lose their grip. The fog starts to clear, because action creates clarity. When you move, you learn. When you wait, you guess. Action gives you feedback. It teaches you. It grows you. You may not have all the answers today, but that's not a reason to stay still. Answers are found by those who search, by those who experiment, by those who dare. You'll never know what could be until you make the leap. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, it may be messy. But that is the price of greatness. No legacy was ever built in the waiting room of life. Every remarkable life was shaped by those who dared to act when others hesitated. Think of your goals as seeds. If they are not planted through action, you work, they remain dormant. If they are not watered with effort, they dry out. The field of your life only yields what you sow with your labor. So labor with urgency, not recklessly, but with passion, with commitment, with intensity. Time is a resource you can never reclaim, and the longer you wait, the further your dreams drift from your grasp. You are not weak. You are not incapable. The strength to act is already within you. It doesn't need to be found. It needs to be exercised. Like a muscle, it grows with use. And with every act, no matter how small, you affirm to yourself, I am capable. I am disciplined. I am in control. You work. When you force yourself to take action, you are not simply performing a task. You are rewriting the story you tell yourself about who you are. Action is more than movement. It is identity in motion. Every time you choose to do rather than delay, to create rather than wait, to step forward rather than shrink back, you reinforce a new self-image. One of power, responsibility, and discipline. And once this identity begins to take shape, it becomes your foundation. You no longer have to negotiate with laziness or wrestle endlessly with hesitation, because you have already become the kind of person who acts. Many underestimate how powerful one single action can be. A phone call made, a workout completed, a paragraph written, a door knocked on, a decision followed through. These small moves build internal strength. Over time, they compound into a mindset of decisiveness. That is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's not genius, not luck, not talent. It is the commitment to take daily action, even when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or uncertain. Those who take action transform potential into power. Those who don't live under the shadow of regret, always wondering what could have been if they had only moved. Action is the most direct way to silence fear. You work. Fear feeds on inaction. It grows in the space between decision and movement. But once you act, fear loses its grip. You work. Fear cannot survive in the presence of movement. When you force yourself to act despite the anxiety, despite the insecurity, you rob fear of its strength. You expose it for what it is, a mental illusion with no real substance. And in doing so, you elevate your inner courage. You begin to trust yourself more. While watch you that even if things go wrong, you can handle it. Discipline and willpower are muscles, and like any muscle, they must be trained. The more you train yourself to act on command, to do what must be done when it must be done, the stronger you become. Over time, you develop a bias for action. You work, you become uncomfortable with complacency. You find rest not in laziness, but in completion. The satisfaction that comes from following through becomes your fuel. You start to value integrity over comfort. You begin to walk taller, speak with more conviction, and live with more clarity because you are no longer at war with yourself. There is also a spiritual dimension to action. When you act, you align yourself with the natural laws of progress. Nature rewards growth, expansion, movement. Stagnation is punished not by force, but by erosion of confidence, of opportunity, of time. To act is to honor your purpose. To delay is to betray it. Your life is waiting to respond to your effort, not your wishes, not your hopes, but your consistent, determined effort. The world adjusts for those who move. Doors open. Ideas evolve. People take notice. But none of it starts until you do. So remind yourself daily action is not an option. It is a necessity, not just for success, but for self-respect. When you look at the people who have shaped history, transformed industries, watched you work, or risen from humble beginnings to remarkable heights, you will find one trait repeated over and over. They acted. You work. They didn't merely talk about what they were going to do. They didn't drown in endless preparation or wait for the stars to align. They moved, even when they were unsure, even when the outcome was unclear. Action separates dreamers from doors. And in that separation lies the great divide between potential and progress. The mistake many people make is believing they need permission. They watch, they wait for someone to approve their ideas, validate their path, or guarantee success before they move. You work, but waiting for certainty is a luxury that achievement doesn't offer. If you want a guarantee, understand this. You work. The only true guarantee is that if you do nothing, nothing changes. Action, though risky, always creates possibility. You work, and possibility is the soil in which transformation grows. The habit of action is also the greatest cure for overwhelm. When life feels heavy, you work. When challenges seem too large, when goals appear distant, action cuts through the fog. You don't need to do everything at once. You work. You just need to do something now. Clarity returns when you take the first step. Focus sharpens. Confidence rises. You work. The mountain doesn't feel so tall when your feet are already climbing. One task completed gives you momentum to complete the next. You create a rhythm of forward movement that begins to feel unstoppable. One of the most powerful realizations you can ever come to is that action is a choice. You work. It is not dependent on motivation, mood, or circumstance. You can train yourself to act whether you feel ready or not. You work. That is the essence of discipline. Doing what must be done, not because you feel like it, but because you have committed to it. This commitment, when upheld daily, turns you into a force. People will notice the difference. Not because you speak louder, but because your results speak for you. You work. Think of every unfilled goal in your life. Trace it back, and you will likely find a moment where action was delayed, where doubt won, where excuses replaced effort. This isn't to judge, but to illuminate. Because once you see that your past inaction has shaped your current results, you work. You reclaim the power to shape your future through decisive action today. That realization is empowering. It means you are not at the mercy of fate. You are not bound by your past. You can act, and by acting, you can change everything. Do not wait for the perfect plan. Plans are refined as you move. Do not wait for the fear to disappear. Courage is developed through exposure, not avoidance. Do not wait for approval. The world respects results, not intentions. Stand up, breathe deeply, and take the step you've avoided. Take the call, write the sentence, press forward. Not next week, not tomorrow. Now, because your future doesn't wait. It's being shaped in this moment by this very decision. To act or to delay. Choose action. Always. Forcing yourself to take action is not just a strategy for success. It is a declaration of ownership over your life. It is the moment you stop being a spectator and become the architect. When you act, you are sending a message to the world and to yourself on, I am no longer willing to be a victim of circumstance. I am the cause, not just the effect. This shift in identity changes everything. It awakens a deep inner force that has been dormant, silenced by fear, comfort, and delay. But the moment you push forward, that force begins to rise. It's easy to underestimate the cost of inaction. We often think that by avoiding the discomfort of action, we're protecting ourselves. But in truth, every delayed decision, every postponed effort carries a hidden tax. It costs you your confidence. It costs you your momentum. It breeds guilt, stress, and they regret. And over time, this quiet erosion becomes a loud crisis. Suddenly, you work. The gap between where you are and you want to be feels insurmountable. Not because it is. You work, but because you've allowed hesitation to build a wall between you and your future. Action is not always dramatic. In fact, it's often mundane. You work. It's making the call no one else wants to make. It's showing up on days when others hit snooze. It's finishing the task even when you're tired. These are not glamorous moments, but they are golden. Because each time you act when it would be easier not to, you harden your will. You deepen your discipline. and discipline is the foundation of all achievement. Talent is inconsistent. Motivation fades, but discipline, built through consistent action, becomes your greatest ally. What's important to understand is that action is never neutral. It always moves you in some direction. Even failure, when caused by action, is a forward movement. It teaches, sharpens, and prepares. Inaction teaches nothing. It stalls your growth. It allows fear to fester. You work. The pain of effort is temporary, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. You don't have to know everything. You don't need the full blueprint. While they watch you work, you only need to take the next step in faith, with courage, knowing that action is how the path reveals itself. Every goal you've set, every dream you've dared to imagine, is waiting behind a wall of resistance. And that wall doesn't crumble through intention. It falls through persistence, through action, one blow at a time, one move at a time. You don't have to conquer the entire vision today, but you must strike. You must chip away at it. You work, even if it's just for a few minutes. That's how mountains are moved. Not with one massive push, but with repeated, focused effort from someone who refuses to stop. So when your mind says later, respond with movement. When fear says wait, answer with action. Because the life you want is waiting, but it won't wait forever. Take hold of your power. Use it. And remember, every great transformation begins with a single decision: I will not wait. I will act. Taking action is a habit, and like all habits, it is formed through repetition. Each time you act in the face of resistance, you make it easier to do so again tomorrow. You work. You train your body and mind to respond with courage rather than hesitation. Over time, this habit becomes instinct. While they watch you work, you become the person who doesn't wait to feel ready, who doesn't need to be pushed, who moves with purpose even in the absence of certainty. This is not talent. It is training. The world belongs to those who have trained themselves to act while others are still thinking about it. You work. One of the greatest illusions is that there will be a perfect moment to begin. People wait for more time, more clarity, more resources, more confidence. But life rarely offers perfection. What it gives is opportunity, and opportunity is fleeting. It comes in quiet, while they watch you, inconvenient moments when most are too distracted or too afraid to notice. The ones who seize opportunity are not the ones who were most prepared. They are the ones who chose to act. If you wait for perfection, you'll wait forever. You work, but if you move with what you have, you'll build what you need. The truth is, your future is shaped far less by what you feel and far more by what you do. Emotions are temporary, circumstances change, but actions leave a mark. They build outcomes. They carve character. If you want to change your life, you cannot afford to live at the mercy of your moods. You must learn to move regardless. Do it tired. Do it nervous. Do it when no one else believes in you. Because action taken under pressure creates steel. It strengthens you in ways comfort never can. You must also understand that action invites adversity. When you move forward, you will encounter resistance. Not just from within, but from the world around you. Others may doubt you, criticize you, even try to hold you back. But this is a sign you are moving in the right direction. Nothing of value is gained without struggle. If your actions make waves, good. It means you're shaking the waters of mediocrity. It means you're becoming noticeable. Progress often begins with disturbance. The more you act, the more you change your environment. You begin to attract new opportunities, new people, and new challenges. The universe responds to movement. Doors you never saw begin to open. Connections are made. The dots start to align. But none of this happens until you step out. Your vision can be grand, your goals ambitious, but until you move, they are only fantasies. Action is what converts your vision into substance. The choice is always yours. Every morning, you stand at a crossroads, delay or do. Each day you choose action, you win a quiet battle. And those quiet wins accumulate. They become your armor, your strength, your edge. Do not underestimate the power of daily movement. You don't have to be the fastest, the smartest, or the strongest. While they watch you work, you only have to be the one who refuses to stand still. That alone can change everything. While they watch you work, there is a hidden strength that lies dormant within every individual. You work, a strength that is only awakened when you force yourself to move forward in the face of resistance. This strength does not emerge through wishing, hoping, or even planning. It is born through action. When you act, you engage a force within you that is far more powerful than motivation or excitement. You ignite discipline, and discipline, once awakened, becomes your silent ally, guiding you through days when nothing seems to work and no one seems to care. You work. It becomes the engine that drives you when inspiration disappears. You may not always feel like acting. In fact, most of the time you won't. You work. That is the truth that separates achievers from dreamers. Achievers know that waiting to feel like doing something is a trap. They understand that movement must come before emotion. That once you start, feelings begin to align with your effort. You feel better after action, not before it. The satisfaction of knowing you moved forward, no matter how small the step, is a reward that builds confidence, character, and momentum. Every action you take sends a message to your subconscious mind. It tells your inner self who you really are. If you delay, if you shrink back, you tell yourself that fear is in control. But when you act, even in the face of fear, you are rewriting that message. You are declaring that you are the master of your life. This declaration, made daily through your choices, creates a new identity, one rooted in strength. You work, courage, and initiative. And once you begin to see yourself this way, your behavior will start to reflect it. You work. You will stop looking for shortcuts and start looking for challenges, because you'll know you can meet them. Action also purifies your mind. You work, it burns away overthinking, which is the root of so much suffering. When you take action, you are too busy to entertain doubt. You are engaged in life. You are moving with purpose. Overthinking thrives in stillness and indecision. But action, focused, deliberate action, kills it instantly. You don't need to have all the answers to begin. You only need to begin. The next step will reveal itself, and then the next. Life rewards those who move, while not those who wait. Understand this clearly. Every day you do not act, you reinforce habits of hesitation. But every day you push yourself to do the thing you resist. You weaken the grip of fear and strengthen your resolve. This is the essence of inner power. It is not found in books or lectures, but in the simple, sometimes painful choice to act. Not once, but repeatedly, consistently, relentlessly. You work. There is a version of you waiting to be revealed. A version built not on talent or luck, but on action. The version that didn't quit, that didn't wait, that didn't make excuses. You are the sculptor. Your decisions are the chisel. And each action is a strike that shapes your destiny. If you want to see that version come to life, then stop waiting. Start moving. Now,